Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Brad from Supercar Driver Training, lead instructor, and today we have the new Bentley Continental GT Speed, the 2025. Now, not much changes on this vehicle. I say that, but a few things do. We've got a new light setup and a slightly different grille. Very nice, attractive lights on this vehicle. We've also got the same carbon ceramic brakes from the previous generation. Inside, this particular vehicle has the yellow accents with the grey interior. It's not the nicest colour, but it's growing on me slowly. Of course, we have soft closed doors. Round to the rear of the vehicle, we now have a charging port on the left-hand side, which obviously we never had before. We have now lost the spoiler at the back, but we do have a new light design. Now, being a hybrid, we have a much smaller boot, unfortunately, as there's lots of batteries hidden under there, but we don't mind because we get the extra power. Under the bonnet, we have a brand new V8 4-litre. This produces just under 600 brake horsepower. With the electric motor assisted, a further just under 200 horsepower. We have a combined total of 770 horsepower. This is a very quick car. Now, I've actually launched it a few times today, and although Bentley's official figures are 3.1 to 3.6 seconds, I've actually managed 2.7 seconds today in this car. So it's very quick. .7 seconds. Wow, wow, wow. That's a lot quicker than what the official figures say. Very impressive car. Inside the Bentley, we have the same interior as the previous model. There are a few small changes. For example, here in the middle, we used to have the wireless charging going sideways. Now it's going lengthways, but it's not that great because it overheats, unfortunately. Then up on the dash, we've got all of the different modes available, including the EV modes, which are new to the Bentley this year. We now have full EV drive mode, the hybrid mode. We also have hold. And finally, we have the charge mode where it harnesses the engine power to recharge that battery. Lastly, the most important thing for me about this new interior with the Bentley is Apple Wireless CarPlay. We now finally have it in the Continental. It's been in the Bentayga already for a few years, but the Continental's never had it, and it's been a big problem for me as an owner. Now in this new car, we have wireless CarPlay, so that's a big plus. Inside the new Continental, very similar to the previous one. You still have the lovely plush leather, the lovely comfortable seats. It's a really nice place to be. This particular car is a first edition, so it's got pretty much all of the updates already installed in there. Now, being the first hybrid Bentley, this is very different because I've owned various Bentley Continental GT Speeds over the years, and they've always been great cars. But I've never had a hybrid one, and this is also no longer the W12 6-litre engine. This is now a V8 engine. Being a V8, it's quite loud at times, but if you have the car in Bentley mode or comfort mode, it's still very quiet, and it's a really nice place to be. You have your massaging seats, as you would expect in this car. You have all of the other regular bits and bobs. What you've got now, though, is you've got this EV mode, and you can put the car into EV mode and run without the engine on at all, which is obviously quite new for Bentley. I'm not sure about it yet, if I'm honest with you. It's a little bit clunky, and when you're making maneuvers, because it's such a big car with such big tires, it can also be a little bit jerky. But that might just be because it's a brand new car and it's going to take time to get used to. But there's lots of various EV modes you can use in the infotainment system. You can have just EV drive, so it's silent, or you can obviously have a hybrid where it uses both the engine and the electronic hybrid motor at the same time to give you extra speed and performance, or you can hold so the engine charges the EV mode. I'm not really sure yet about it. I've only just started driving the car today, but it's supposedly 770 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters of torque, which should mean it's a very quick car. But I'm just getting used to it now, so I'm going to give it another 5 or 10 minutes and then I'll update you. So I've had a couple more minutes to get used to the car. It's very similar to the previous car, I'm going to be honest. There's not massive changes. There's a few in the heads-up display, and on the dash there's a few different bits and bobs, but nothing too major. You've got the same infotainment system as the previous version. The only update which you do have in this car, which is fantastic, is Apple wireless CarPlay, because in the previous versions you didn't have it. Now, anyone that is a Continental GT owner, I have a little insider tip for you and trick. If you have ceramic brakes on your vehicle and you find they're wearing out quite quickly, they are actually the exact same discs and pads that they fit on the Lamborghini Urus. But all they do on the Bentley is they cut about 25% of the pad off, which means they're softer under the foot, not as noisy under braking, but it does mean they only last about half as long. So I found on my own personal vehicle that if you get the Lamborghini Urus brake pads and fit them to the vehicle, they're exactly the same size, exactly the same fitment, but they do last 50% longer. And they don't really make the brakes any sharper, so it's a really handy tip for you. So not only do you get longer brake life, you get a slightly stronger brake, and Lamborghini Urus pads are around £700 to £800 to buy, depending on where you buy them. However, the Bentley pads, exactly the same, just a smaller pad, cost over £1,000 because it's got Bentley tax. So I would suggest, if anyone does get the new Continental GT, that they get a set of pads off the Lamborghini Urus and have them installed instead. Powertrain wise, I mean, yes, this is a quick car. Currently I've got it in Bentley mode, just kind of wafting along, motorway speeds. It's very comfortable. You've got the full adaptive cruise control. You can set the distance between you and the car in front, and it will follow it, and it will brake when it brakes and so on. It's a very nice place to be. It's very quiet in the cabin as well, just like the old car. However, if we switch it into sports mode, instantly you hear that little burble, and we put the foot down for a second here. It's not a bad sound at all, and it does have really good pickup, so they've definitely made some improvements there in the powertrain. One small thing I have noticed compared to my Bentley, which is the previous generation, it would appear to me, at least as a 6'1" man with the seat all the way down, that I am sitting quite high up. Now, I did call the dealership and ask them why that may be, and they've explained to me that because of the hybrid system and the additional batteries and ECUs and whatnot, they have raised the floor slightly in the car. So if you're over 6 foot tall, you can feel a little bit too tall in this car, in my personal opinion. Of course, everyone has their seat set up how's best for them, but for me, it's a little bit high. You have still got the full range of seat movement down here on the side, including the massage system, which is also very nice. You have also got the rotating screen, which you have in the previous cars, very nice. And you've got this full adaptive cruise control, which is very, very good. It does follow the car in front of you very well, and of course, for safety reasons, you must keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times, but it's slightly like the Tesla in the way that it will do the majority of the steering and braking and everything for you, and it works on a GPS system in this car, which is different to the old car. So if we're going along the motorway here and the bend comes up ahead of us, the car will automatically start slowing down for that bend using the GPS, whereas the previous car would simply keep going at the same speed all the way around the bend, and hopefully it wasn't a problem. As we're now coming into a tunnel, the obligatory sound check has to be done. So let's slow down a minute here and get a little bit of distance between us and the car in front, because of course this is a very quick car. We are in sports mode. Have a listen. It's not bad at all. That's a pretty nice sound. Now, this car does have the same rear wheel steering that previous generation had, which is very good. This is a very big car, but under turning, it doesn't feel that big at all, which also means when you're trying to get in tight spaces and in and out of tight spaces in car parks, it's actually quite easy to maneuver. It also has the new system in the My Bentley app, which means that if you are in a very tight spot, the same as the Teslas, you can actually bring the car out of the spot as long as you're within 2 meters of the car. It also has the ability, when you're on the motorway, to steer in the same direction to give you that extra stabilization at high speeds, which again, I must say, is very, very good. It does really help the drive of this car, as it is such a big beast. Don't quote me on this, but it might even be longer than a Range Rover. Another thing I've immediately noticed about the Bentley is that previously, when you were in comfort mode and you switched it to Bentley mode or even sport mode, the difference wasn't that great. However, now if you switch it from comfort mode to sport mode, it's a very noticeable difference. The handling completely changes, the engine tone changes, the reaction of the car and everything. It changes quite a lot. So the Bentley engineers have definitely played with that software to get it a lot more responsive, and it is very good. There is definitely a big difference from before on the previous model. Another thing to note, that obviously now going down from the W12 6 litre going down to this V8, the efficiency. Wow, the efficiency. Oh my God, it is so efficient compared to the previous model. I'm really surprised. I have been driving this car for the past couple of hours and I've barely seen it move off of full, which in the previous version, that would have not happened. So this is a real big bonus to obviously going to this hybrid system, that you're going to get a lot more MPG out of the car, a smaller, lighter engine with more power. It's the future. It's just like the Ferrari 296 GTB. Now, that again is a wonderful car with a V6. That can fully recharge its own battery in around 15 minutes just running on engine power alone, so you never actually have to plug it in. So there's no real need to drag around all of those charging cables with you or ever plug the car in. And I think that's going to be the same on this vehicle here. I can see that in the system itself, if I set it to hold, it fully recharges that battery in almost no time at all. So I can never really see an owner of one of these vehicles ever having to actually plug it in. Although, maybe that's a handy bonus in places around London to be able to park and plug it into an EV charger. Who knows? Now, as we enter some sweeping country lanes, I'm going to put the car into sport and see how it performs on some bends. Hear that exhaust start? Wow. So let's see how he or she performs. Well, instantly that suspension is much firmer than before, and the steering has become a lot more direct. We have got a bit of traffic, unfortunately, but it's a good feeling. It's very responsive. Some nice gurgles from the back there, which are also nice. Let's see what this next road brings. That's surprisingly quick. Obviously it's a big heavy car, however, so it's not going to handle like a GT3 RS, but power wise that has a very nice torque band. And the same brakes that you find on the previous model, they really do work well, even if they have got that smaller pad on them to make them last that much longer, according to Bentley. It's surprisingly nimble for such a big heavy car. And there's even a little bit of runoff there on the exhaust, a little bit of overrun, a little bit of burble. It's quite nice. It goes so fast, so quick, you can never really get to use any of that speed. I think the only place you'll ever really get to use this mammoth speed and power is on the Autobahn. So we're entering another national speed limit area. Let's put the car back into sport. Wow, it does have a really good throttle response, and the power is quite immense. Now, I don't think anyone in the UK on a normal day-to-day basis is ever really going to be able to use this power. And after tracking my previous Bentley on various tracks in the UK and in France at Spa, Francorchamps, and also the Nürburgring, it's a very capable car. The Pirelli P0 tyres that come as standard from Bentley surprisingly held up very well when I took the car on the track, and these are the same tyres again. And they do a very good job. They get a lot of grip. They really do manage to get the power down on the road very well. Something I've always personally enjoyed about being the owner of a Bentley is you just don't see many of them on the roads. So it does give you that air of exclusivity from other vehicles in the same price bracket. That says 3 seconds on the mark, and that was going up a hill. Wow. Wow, that's incredibly impressive. Under 3 seconds, 0 to 62. Well done, Bentley. So thanks guys for watching the video. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon. What car would you like to see us testing next? This is a very impressive vehicle. Thanks for now. Brad out.